would you think if I told you the reason you are not completing your life goals is because you watched Disney movies as a child? At first, you might be defensive because you like Disney movies and they were fun and wholesome, or you might be offended because you actually are working your life goals and are trying. But what happened was Disney has disrupted the connection between the dreams that we have and the work that's required to achieve them. Today I want to talk to you about the curse of the comfortable, or what I call the Disney disaster. Now, starting in the late 1980s, Disney completely changed the way that they made animated film. They looked at what was happening on Broadway. They adopted a musical theater, a mentality. They infused songs into their films. And after these films, they modeled them after fairy tales that were classics. These actually ushered in a new era of Disney films, which has now been named the Disney Renaissance. Starts with The Little Mermaid. It includes films like Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Aladdin, ones that we grew up on. And like these characters, we have dreams and aspirations. Each of these characters were in a sort of situation. They wanted something. They wanted something beyond what they were living in. Ariel wanted life beyond the sea. Belle, life beyond a poor provincial town. And Aladdin, life beyond the poverty-stricken streets of Agrabah. We identified with these people. We grew up with hopes and dreams of greatness, of glory, and maybe even stardom. But unlike these characters, we were raised and we live in a hugely different world where science, life, and facts don't necessarily play the same role. Each of these characters had really pivotal moments that changed their entire hero's journey. And they really made great films, especially because it introduced fun plot twists and cinematic moments. But these moments actually are what disassociated the connection between dreams and the hard work it takes to fulfill them. Ariel only finds her dream because she happens upon a sea witch with magic. Belle because her crazy father gets lost in a forest after being chased by wolves. And Aladdin because he finds a magical lamp in a cave of wonders. Now, I understand you may have dreams and they may be difficult, but the reality of you finding these solutions in Mesa, Arizona is slim to none. I would say most of the world is slim to none. Unless you happen to live in Anaheim. But what happened is they built these dreams, and we love these characters, we love their journeys, but we didn't quite realize the effort it would take to have our own dreams fully realized and come to fruition. Now combine that with the fact that we grew up in the dot-com boom and the dot-com era. Now we understood that businesses could start up one day and you could be a millionaire the next. Things are easy, are graceful, and are comfortable. Now what happens when you do that is you think the effort required for greatness becomes marginalized and minimalized. We become obsessed with having more and more paid time off, having less and less days or hours we need to work in a specific week. We've become obsessed with finding time to unplug, to relax, to chill, to find times where we can just be with us, myself. Now this need, combined with this Disney disaster, really has created a plague that's gone not only unnoticed, but it's gone unmentioned for our entire generation. And we have a generation that's obsessed with being comfortable and also obsessed with dreams of grandeur, but can't figure out how to combine the two of them. So understanding this level of comfortability, I had an interesting experience where I could then watch what being comfortable feels like. In my current position at my job, I oversee an internship program. For the last few years, I see students come from universities, spend weeks and months in our company walls, and then leave. One of the most fulfilling things about this is that I get to see people come, see how they work, and then see their trajectory. And not all students' trajectories are the same. We have what we call these superstars, and that 1 out of probably every 10 or so really go on to do great and wonderful things. And the rest keep on the trajectory they're going, and they basically assume the status quo. So my question was, after watching this for a year or two, what's the difference? The difference really is this. It comes down to how comfortable are you with comfortable? Because most of the students that we had spent time completely satisfied with the status quo, but there was a small percentage who hurled themselves into the world of the uncomfortable. Well, why do we love comfy? Why do we love comfortable? This was the question I began to ask myself, because most of us dream of a Friday night, if not here, somewhere like this couple on the screen. Well, I think there's 4 main reasons why we really love a comfortable life. And it's not just about trends or Disney films. The first is comfortable is familiar. Just like Mom's homemade chocolate chip cookies, we love things that are nostalgic. They remind us of this is my place or our place. We love going to a restaurant and ordering the usual. We love having a group of friends that we know we're going to see on a Friday night. We love things that are familiar. Familiar is comfortable. Now this is okay, but socially it manifests itself that we spend most of our time with the same people, doing the same things at the same places. Professionally, this happens where we stick with things that we know and we enjoy, and we don't really branch outside our comfort zone because we like to do things that we're good at. Comfortable is also popular because it's easy. It doesn't require extraneous effort. It's not some huge Herculean excursion. We love to do things that are fairly easy or that come easy to us. Things where we don't have to go to the office every day, or maybe even put on pants. We love easy. This happens socially, where there's people we love to hang out with and spend time with, or even date, because we have similar interests. Or maybe we have the same type of schedule. That's really easy. We love comfortable because it's easy. But beyond that, we love comfortable because it's convenient. We love to do things that are fast, cheap, and easy. And I'm talking about food here. We love to do things that are convenient for our own schedule, that don't have to derail our entire plan or make us feel uncomfortable. Socially, this manifests itself when we spend time usually with people we live, work, or worship with. We don't really breach those barriers. Professionally, this happens when we decide we stick with a job or an industry because I already have that job. I already have that paycheck. It's already coming to me. And finding a job is difficult. Changing an industry or your trajectory is difficult. It's not convenient. Comfortable will always play the convenient card, and it's difficult to not let that reign. And lastly, comfortable is safe. Meaning we want to minimize the amount of risk we take in our lives at all costs. We've become obsessed with the minimalized risk outlook on life. Now the problem is that while this might seem comfortable, in the long term, it's actually not. And this is where it strikingly manifests itself well in the social realm. Socially, we stay safe. We do things with the same people, the same time, every week, month, year, and then we wonder, well, why am I not married? Why do I not have more friends? Why do I not have these tremendous experiences that I see on social media? It's because we stick with things that are safe. Most of us will come here and speak to only the people we already know. Most of us will come with a certain number of social connections and friends and leave with the exact same number. The people who live in the uncomfortable do something different. Now, I bring you back to this internship where we had students who understood how to hurl themselves into the world of the uncomfortable. It's not necessarily fun, but I will say it's something that pays off. So we're left with a choice. Do we want to live a comfortable life, or do we, like some of these superstars, want to hurl ourselves into the world of uncomfortable? Now, when we think about uncomfortable, there's a lot of different words we can use to describe it. I've thrown some here on the screen. Some of these are like nervous, worried, anxious, awkward, restless. Think about the last time you felt any of these emotions. This is when you took a small moment of time and hurled yourself into what we call the world of the uncomfortable. This was probably a pivotal and important experience that you had. Think about where you were, who you were with, what you did, and maybe what impact that event has had. And that impact may not even be fully realized yet. Those are moments when you lived in the uncomfortable. If you want to hurl yourself into this world, we need to look for these emotions. Now, looking for feelings is not going to fulfill your dreams, so there's got to be a better way. The question I had then is, how do we live in and love living in the uncomfortable? Because you thought about those feelings we just put on the board, none of those are fun. No one wants to feel that the rest of their life. Everyone's going to have anxiety issues and nervous breakdowns if we live in that. But we need to learn how we can operate well and be a high-functioning individual in this world. Now, I actually believe that there are 4 main habits that I've seen And it germinates from this experience I had working with interns. But as I saw the world of the comfortable and uncomfortable collide with these students, I looked back at my own life, and I looked at the lives of others, and I could see traces of this and echoes of it everywhere I looked. These are not ingenious, crazy, difficult habits. They're simple, but if applied consistently, dreams can be realized. The first of these habits is building an attainable vision. Everyone who lives in the uncomfortable has an idea. They know where they're going, or they know where they want to go. Now, we struggle with this as a natural young adult because we've grown up in a construct that has us climb a ladder. We know after second grade we'll go to third, after eighth we go to ninth. We know that once we finish school, we then enter a realm of possibilities, and this is where things get tough because we stop having a ladder and we're entered a field where then all of a sudden we have every potential and possibility at our fingertips. And this is exhilarating, enticing, and exciting. What it also is it's terrifying, it's potentially misleading, and it gives us lots of anxiety. What happens here is that the comfortable and the uncomfortable divert in two different directions. Those who hurl themselves in the uncomfortable know that the field is a fallacy. You have to build your own ladder. You have to have your own pace and your own benchmarks. They also realize that a vision doesn't mean you understand every step of your journey. A vision means I know where I want to go, and I know I need to start taking steps now to get there. I experienced this when I went to college. I came back from my mission, I started up at school and realized, okay, I need to find a major, but like if I study business, I might do this. If I study advertising, I might go here. I had a backup plan, 3 backup plans. What if I didn't get in that major? And I remember after about 2 or 3 semesters discussing my multiple iterations of plans and long, short-term goals. I remember my mother just saying to me, just choose a major and get out. And she made the comment that time was so much more valuable than the title of the major I had. She realized time was an important asset. People who live in the uncomfortable realize time is money and is an asset, and no one individual choice will completely sink your path. They realize what will sink your path is when you stop. You pull over to the side of the road and you delay inevitable and important decisions. That's what derails people who live in the comfortable. People who live in the uncomfortable understand choices can be made, and behind those doors are a lot more choices. And not necessarily good and bad, it may be good, better, and best, and choosing one of the lesser ones doesn't ruin anyone. You have to have and build an attainable vision. The second habit has everything to do with proactively and consistently working hard. Some of us are naturally prone to this. I have a roommate who works out every day, and he's naturally prone to working out and working hard. I was not born that way. I was born more like a comfy lifestyle. I remember as a child, I joined a swim team and my mother would drive me every day to practice. And about 4:10, right when we needed to leave, I would be really sick. And I'm like, the responsible choice is not to go to practice. If I'm sick and I get other people sick, could you imagine what the parents is like? Or I would look at, Mom, I'm still so sore from yesterday. I should recover. That's going to be better in the long term. Or I'll look at the weather. There might be a lightning storm. You know, pools and lightning. Those are just canceled. I did not understand the connection between proactively working daily and dreams that take a long time. But I did see this realized when I was working with an intern. Her name was Lindsay. Wonderful, smart, blonde girl. She came in, she aced the interview. She spent a few months at our office, and we would talk about what she does at night. And she says, I'm just doing job search stuff. She wanted a job in a specific industry at a specific company, and she spent time every day, every week, proactively working at this long-term goal. And she would fill us in. I'm at this point in time, I'm doing well, I'm making progress, I haven't really found what I'm looking for, but I'm getting closer. And her proactive and consistent effort landed her the largest job offer any of our interns ever found at the largest company any of our interns ever applied for. Proactivity pays off. But we also need to realize that when you're working towards these things, your short and long-term goals have to be congruent. If you have a dream or desire that's a long-term, you need to find ways to translate it into everyday life. People who live in the uncomfortable work on their long-term dreams every single day. The third habit is people who live in the uncomfortable, they observe and they ask. They realize they live in a social network that's valuable and with people who are going through the same human experience. In college, I experienced this in calculus. I took 1 or 2 tests for the course and then realized, hey, you know what? I'm not doing so hot. Tell my parents, hey, I don't think anyone's doing hot. My 2 friends, they're getting the same scores as me. And the first comment my parents had was, maybe you need new friends. I was like, oh, okay. So I sat next to a different guy the next day at class and said, hey, how'd you do on the last test? He goes, I actually did fairly well. And I was like, really? Are you like really smart? Or like, what'd you do? He's like, I went to a TA session. There was a great tutor. She gives an open study course every Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, this isn't rocket science. There's something I'm missing. We have a social network we can leverage to achieve all of our goals. And never underestimate the importance of a weak tie. Dr. Meg Jay, who wrote The Defining Decade, says, weak ties are people we rarely ever talk to or see, but we still know. And she said, these are the people that dramatically change our lives. In fact, 75% of the new jobs people get are because of weak ties. People they see only occasionally or rarely. We need to leverage look around, watch the superstars we see, learn from them. Watch the failures, learn from them. And use that network. Ask for feedback that you'll receive. The last habit I want to talk about today is the habit of taking risks and learning to say yes. I remember my junior year of college, I had an internship in a small, sleepy college town that I was not particularly excited for. I was approached with an opportunity to travel the country, manage a team, see a lot of new area, and kind of take a risk. Prayed about it. People thought I was crazy and dumb. Took a risk. I met a couple in Illinois, in the middle of Illinois in these cornfields. They're from Chandler, Arizona. They said, hey, when you're done with school, you should try out Arizona. It's a wonderful place. They told me all these wonderful things about Arizona. They lied completely about the heat. And 2 years later, through a weak connection of theirs, I got a job offer through LinkedIn and moved here. And that's how I'm here today. Risks pay off. People who live in the uncomfortable say yes. They accept risk and accept the necessity of risk. Part of taking risk is stopping asking how something's done and asking why not. How is not really a smart question because how can be Googled? Anytime you need to know something, you can Google it and figure it out. Why not is a really good question because it changes your mind frame and it tears down the walls of comfortability. The chasm in this plague of the Disney disaster does not need to go on. It can end with you. It ends with you adopting habits that impact your daily life to reach your long-term goals. Your impossible dreams are not impossible. They can be accomplished. But I will tell you this. They lie beyond the sea. They lie beyond a poor provincial town. In fact, they lie beyond the streets where you grew up or you live. They lie in the world of the uncomfortable. Thank you.